As we all know, the American women's soccer team won the World Cup. This is the fourth time that the team has done so. And there's been a lot of anger directed toward Megan Rapinoe, who has been protesting Donald Trump. And so Jesse Waters is trying to make an argument about how these are very naughty girls who don't deserve to get paid fairly.
The women are not helping their case by their behavior. If you go out and you disparage the president, you act in unpatriotic ways, and then complain about not getting paid equally, well, what do you think is going to happen? People aren't going to watch.
No, but they get on talk shows.
Many people this weekend who said, I love soccer, I'm not watching the U.S. women because I didn't like what they said. That means the ad revenue comes down, that means their overall revenue comes down, and they can't divvy up the same amount of money.
So this year's World Cup final on Sunday drew about 14 million US TV viewers on Fox. Now, to be fair, that was down from 25 million who tuned in to the 2015 Women's World Cup final, but the timing was actually different. So in 2015, it occurred during an evening time slot. Obviously, the World Cup this past Sunday was during the day, so people might have been out with their family, maybe some brunch, maybe some rosé all day. And the Men's World Cup final in 2018 had about 11.4 million viewers in the US. So the Women's World Cup actually drew a larger audience than the Men's World Cup.
No, I'm stunned by those two numbers. Yesterday, Anna and Brett told me off air about it, and I couldn't believe it, that the Women's World Cup had drawn a larger audience than the Men's World Cup. And if you're wondering why I couldn't believe it, because historically, men's sporting events draw much larger audiences. But in this case, it's just not true. And the 25 million that they got at night in 2015, wow, that is unreal number. I mean, that's what over well over 2 times what the Men's World Cup championship game got in America. I can't believe that. So now, given that, I was initially a little skeptical, like, hey, look, if LeBron's gonna get paid more than somebody playing at the WNBA. That's just the reality of life because they make a lot more money, etc. But in the case of women's soccer, it's just not the case.
Exactly, and I have more numbers for you, which I'll get to in just a second. But I wanna make one comment about Jesse Waters and his line of thinking. In his world, and I don't know if he really believes this, right? But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He really thinks that people are going to avoid watching a soccer event, like the biggest soccer event of the year, because the players are critical of Trump. One player was critical of Trump. Like, no one cares, bro. Like, no one cares. Like, no one's gonna, maybe a few people, but no one is gonna think to themselves, man, I really wanna watch the Women's World Cup, but I'm not going to because Megan Rapinoe decided to protest Trump. No one cares.
I'm picturing all these alt-right guys who had their beers and Jack Daniels lined up and they were gonna watch women's soccer. They're like, what? She criticized Trump? That's it, I'm not watching anymore. You weren't gonna watch anyway, okay? But I actually thought the other things he said were far more outrageous and hilarious. So whenever I think of saying something on the air, I always think, what if the shoe was on the other foot? But apparently that thought never crossed the mind of any Fox News host.
Nope.
So he's like, criticizing the president, so unpatriotic. Jesse, what do you think you did for 8 straight years under Obama? So under your own definition, you're one of the most unpatriotic guys on the planet, and your pay should immediately be cut. Okay, but of course he didn't think that through. He's like, yeah, if you criticize the president when it's a Republican, it's unpatriotic. Okay, knucklehead. And then the other thing is, he's like, hey, well, look, this is what they get for complaining. No, you shouldn't have your pay cut for complaining. And second of all, in this case, it wasn't cut. It was just way lower than the men's to begin with. How would you address that if you don't bring it up? Right. So either you don't bring it up and you get paid less, or you bring it up and you go, you're complaining, so now I'm not gonna increase it. And it also assumes men should be in charge in determining women's salaries.
Exactly, yeah, that's the best point, okay? Anyway, okay, so let me give you the numbers to kind of drive that point home about how this team is actually bringing in quite a bit of revenue, so they should be paid more. So the US women's national team is set to enter mediation with the US Soccer Federation when they return from France after bringing a gender discrimination lawsuit back in March. The lawsuit stated that they are paid far less than the men's team, in some cases earning just 38% of pay per game. Now the women's team contributed close or more than half of the USSF's revenue from games since fiscal 2016. Overall, from fiscal 2016 to 2018, the women's games generated about $900,000 more revenue than the men's games. Okay, but they're still paid less. In the year following the 2015 World Cup win, women's games generated 1.9 million more than the men's games.
So yeah, that's it.
Boom.
Game, set, and match, if you will. So look, there is one other factor. Men playing abroad get paid so much more money. One theory is you could incentivize them to come back and play for the national team by paying them more. But let's keep it real. It's the men's soccer team, US men's soccer team. They're not getting paid that much, okay, abroad. And second of all, everybody plays for their national team. Much more importantly, even Cristiano Ronaldo and Leo Messi and all those guys, they all come back home and play. It's not like you have to pay them a lot of money to incentivize them to play. So there's really no excuse left in this particular case. We're not saying that women's hockey players should get paid as much as men's hockey players, etc. But in this case, they make more revenue. There's no excuse at all, even under dumbass Jesse Waters' rationale, because he said, hey, it's all about the revenue. So sad day for you. You should pay the women not the same. You should pay them more than the men because they make more revenue. Two easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.